You've probably been told your whole life that Thomas Edison invented the light bulb. But what if I told you that's one of the biggest lies in history? Think about it. One man sitting in his lab, and suddenly the world has light. Sounds a bit too perfect, doesn't it? Because here's the thing. Edison didn't invent the light bulb. Not even close. And the real story? It's way more interesting than what they taught you in school. So let's talk about what actually happened, because someone needs to set the record straight. The light bulb story starts way before Edison was even born. We're talking decades earlier. In 1802, a guy named Humphry Davy created the first electric light. He was British, and he basically made electricity flow through a thin strip of material until it glowed. It wasn't practical. It didn't last long, but it was light created by electricity. That was more than 70 years before Edison came into the picture. Then, in 1840, another inventor named Warren de la Rue figured out how to make a better version. He used a coiled platinum filament inside a vacuum tube. The problem, platinum was super expensive. Nobody could afford to light their homes with it, but the concept was there. The technology existed. Fast forward to the 1870s. There were at least 20 different people working on electric light bulbs around the same time. One of them was a Canadian named Henry Woodward. In 1874, he and a partner named Matthew Evans got a patent for an electric lamp. Their design used carbon rods in a glass cylinder filled with nitrogen. Sound familiar? They tried to commercialize it, but didn't have enough money. So, guess what happened? They sold their patent to Thomas Edison in 1879. That's right. Edison literally bought someone else's patent and then took credit for the invention. But wait, it gets better. There was also a British inventor named Joseph Swan. This guy was working on light bulbs since the 1850s. In 1878, Swan demonstrated a working electric lamp in England. It used a carbonized paper filament in a vacuum bulb. He got his British patent in 1880. Before Edison even perfected his version. So, when Edison finally showed his light bulb to the public in 1879, he wasn't the first. Not even close. What Edison did do was improve the design. He tested thousands of different materials for the filament. His team tried everything: bamboo, cotton thread, even hair from one of his assistants. Eventually, they found that carbonized bamboo worked really well and lasted a long time. But here's the key thing. Edison was a businessman more than an inventor. He understood that inventing something wasn't enough. You had to make it cheap, practical, and mass-producible. Edison built the entire infrastructure around the light bulb. He created power stations, wiring systems, and distribution networks. He made it possible for regular people to have electric light in their homes. That's what made him rich and famous, not the invention itself. Meanwhile, Joseph Swan was doing the same thing in England. He was installing light bulbs in homes and public buildings. Edison heard about Swan's work and realized they might have a problem. In 1883, Edison and Swan actually merged their companies. They formed the Edison and Swan United Electric Light Company. If Edison really invented the light bulb, why would he need to partner with a competitor who supposedly copied him? The answer is simple. Because Swan had equal claim to the invention. But Edison was better at marketing. He was better at telling his story. He made sure everyone knew his name. He did public demonstrations. He talked to newspapers. Swan was more quiet, more reserved. He didn't care about fame the same way. So history remembered Edison and kind of forgot about Swan. Then there's the fact that Edison didn't even do most of the work himself. He had a whole team of inventors and engineers working in his lab. They were the ones testing materials and building prototypes. Edison would give them problems to solve, and they'd figure out the solutions. One of his employees, Lewis Latimer, made huge improvements to the light bulb. Latimer was a black inventor who created a better manufacturing process for carbon filaments. His method made the bulbs last way longer and cost less to make. Without Latimer's work, Edison's bulbs wouldn't have been commercially successful. But most people have never even heard of Lewis Latimer. Here's another name you probably don't know: Hiram Maxim. He was working on light bulbs at the same time as Edison. His designs were different, but equally effective. There were patent battles between Edison and Maxim that went on for years. The courts had to figure out who actually owned what parts of the technology. And here's the wild part. Edison lost some of those cases. The courts ruled that other people had valid claims to certain aspects of the light bulb design, but Edison had money and lawyers. He could fight legal battles for as long as it took. Smaller inventors couldn't afford that, so they either sold their patents to Edison or gave up. This is how Edison built his empire, not just through invention, but through business tactics and legal warfare. He'd buy up patents, hire talented people, and then put his name on everything that came out of his lab. To be fair, this was pretty common practice at the time. But it doesn't change the facts. The light bulb was not invented by one person. It was a collaborative effort spanning multiple decades and multiple countries. Dozens of inventors contributed pieces to the puzzle. Some created the basic concept. Others improved the filament. Others figured out the vacuum seal. Edison's real genius was putting all those pieces together in a way that worked commercially. He created a complete system, not just a bulb, but everything needed to make electric lighting a reality for everyone. That's actually more impressive than just inventing a single device. But it's not the story we've been told. We've been told that Edison sat in his lab and had a light bulb moment. Literally, we've been told he failed 10,000 times before he succeeded, that he never gave up. These stories are inspiring. They're simple, they're easy to remember, but they're not accurate. The truth is messy. It involves multiple people, legal battles, bought patents, and a lot of business strategy. It's not as neat as one man inventing something in his basement. So why does everyone think Edison invented the light bulb? Because that's the story that got repeated over and over. In textbooks, in movies, in culture, Edison became a symbol of American innovation, the lone inventor working hard and changing the world. It's a story people wanted to believe, and Edison himself never really corrected anyone. He let people think he invented it. He gave interviews where he talked about his process. He showed off his lab. He became famous. Meanwhile, the other inventors faded into the background. Some of them died poor. Some of them never got recognition for their work. History isn't always fair. It remembers the people who shout the loudest. And Edison was really good at shouting. But now you know the truth. The light bulb wasn't invented by one person on one day. It was invented slowly, by many people over many years. Each person built on what came before. Each person added something new. That's how most inventions actually work. It's almost never one genius having a sudden breakthrough. It's usually a bunch of people working on similar problems at the same time, and then one person gets the credit because they marketed it better or had more money. This happens all the time throughout history. The telephone, the airplane, the car, even the internet. All of these have similar stories. Multiple inventors, but one name everyone remembers. So next time someone tells you Edison invented the light bulb, you can tell them the real story. Tell them about Joseph Swan in England. Tell them about Henry Woodward in Canada. Tell them about Lewis Latimer and his improvements that made it all possible. Because they deserve to be remembered too, and because the truth is always more interesting than the myth. The real story shows us that innovation isn't magic. It's not one person being brilliant. It's people building on each other's ideas. It's collaboration, it's improvement over time. That's actually more inspiring than the lone genius story, because it means you don't have to be a once-in-a-generation genius to change the world. You just have to add your piece to the puzzle. So Yagi, Edison didn't invent the light bulb. But what he did do was turn an interesting idea into something that changed the world. He made it practical. He made it affordable. He made it available to everyone. And maybe that's the real lesson here. History isn't what you learned in school. It's way more complicated than that. The simple stories we get taught are usually missing huge parts of the truth. So, question everything. Dig deeper. Look for the names that got left out. Because there's always more to the story. If you want to learn more myths that turned out to be completely wrong, there's another video you should check out next. Read